Hello fellas, welcome back to a brand new video. I've came down Paul Linford Racing. If you haven't seen Paul's stuff before, it's like a toy warehouse for me, honestly. Just absolute amazing stuff in here. We've got like a selection of Cosworths just casually sitting around. But today we've came to see, Paul's got quite an extensive collection of bikes, haven't you, Paul?
Well, I'm starting to.
You start to? Well,
yeah.
You've certainly got a decent collection. It's mainly crosses, is that right?
Mainly, yeah. I don't know why I've got this thing for them, really. I always had, when I was a young kid, I always wanted a motocross bike. I never wanted a road bike, really. And I don't know, I just started looking at them on eBay like you do.
Aye.
Oh, I like that. So I bought that.
That's the trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, and you just get addicted, don't you? And I'm a bit of a collector-holic anyway, I think. I like collecting all sorts of stuff. Like, you know, I used to collect Zippo lighters. I had hundreds of them things. I just get something in my head and start collecting it.
Collect the wall.
Yeah, so like I say, I started with crosses, and these are actually the latest ones that I've bought that are due to go upstairs on that mezzanine floor. But I have to wait for my mate to give me a hand with this forklift truck to get them up there, because my forklift won't go through the door. So they will all be up there with others eventually. But
I must say as well, I am not an expert on these crosses, and I think you were saying, Paul,
I know absolutely nothing about them. I just
love them.
Yeah, I buy what I like. So there's no doubt I will get a lot of things wrong.
So don't hammer us in the comments.
Yeah, I've got it in the comments. So it's, oh, you're wrong about that. I probably even get the year wrong on them, because I just click on them, I like them, I buy them, and then when I get them home, I think, oh, what year was that? I can't remember. But I know roughly what sort of era. I only really like the sort of 80's.
Right.
When they get into the 90's, they went into what they call the Evo motocross bikes. And I like the very early Evos. So I sort of sometimes get pushed into the early 90's if I specifically like it, but it tends to be 80 to 90 is what I like. And it isn't no reason why, I just like the look of them early bikes. I think because, again, it's my era, isn't it?
I was going to say, it's the same era as the cars, isn't it?
I'm an 80's kid, aren't I? So, you know, you remember what you had when you were a kid. So this was the first of, I bought all these 5 recently.
Right.
And this was the first one. And again, this is too new really for my collection.
Is this a 90's bike?
Yeah, this is an early 90's, I think. Again, don't scream at me if I'm wrong, but I'm absolutely positive it's maybe a 90, 91, something like that. But I love the livery on it.
It's a nice looking bike, man. It's clean as well.
Apparently this was...
obviously a 2-stroke as well.
Yeah, they're all 2-strokes, aren't they? Yeah. What everybody... All the tree huggers don't like in it 2-strokes. All the purists love them, don't they?
All the smoke coming out the back.
Yeah. Save the planet. So, yeah, this one, I just liked the livery on it. I just thought it was great, and I bought it. And then I put it on Facebook that I'd bought it. And one of the lads who knows a lot about crosses said, oh, it's actually a Works sponsored livery. Johnson sponsored a Works team years ago, and he put me up some pictures of the original bikes, you know, with the Works riders on it. And then he went on to tell me that Suzuki had a lot of these bikes left in the showrooms that they couldn't sell. So they put all these plastics and stickers and that on them to sort of spruce them up a little bit, and they sold really well.
So is this a Works bike?
No, this is none of mine are Works bikes.
This is like a replica type thing.
It's a replica of a Works bike. I don't, but I'm a collector of bikes, but I can't justify what you would pay for a jet. It's like the Works cars, you pay a massive premium for a genuine Works bike. And I love them, but because I'm only a collector of, you know, I would imagine that a Works original one of these is probably 10, 15 grand, probably even more. I paid 2,000 for this.
Did you?
Yeah, that's all. So, you know, it was not a lot of money. I just like the look of it.
No,
so
it's a mint, mate. I love it.
And then obviously I bought this back, and then I went on dreaded eBay. And funny enough, the lad who I bought this off, he was a dealer. Nice lad. You know, the bike was exactly as he said it was when he put it on a pallet, believe it or not, strapped it to a pallet and shipped it to me.
Oh, so he didn't go and pick it up in the van?
No, I was too lazy to go and get it. And I said to him, do you know, I'm into collecting old crosses. And he said, well, I know a guy that's got 3 very, very nice examples. Would you be interested? I said, yeah. And that's where these next 3 came from.
This is an early bike, isn't it?
If I remember correctly by what the guy who I bought them off told me, this is 1981.
Right.
and that's a 1982.
That's the 82, this is the
That's
81.
Yeah, slight differences, obviously, apart from the fact that that's 250 and that's the 465. So again,
Oh, 465 two-stroke.
yeah, I
That'd
tried
be naughty.
kicking it over.
Aye, I bet.
Never ever try and kick anything over a 250 off without a bike boot on.
In case it whips back.
Ooh, I tell you, they'll snap your ankle in no time. Well, these big ones will break your leg easy. You know, people think, oh, what a load of rubbish. But I tell you what, I watched on YouTube, you know, and it was a lass doing it.
What, kicking them over?
Kicking them over. She was only a young lass, I would have said in the early teens. And apparently there's a knack to starting the big singles at two strokes. And apparently you turn the pedal on, you lean the bike right over to force the pedal right into the bottom of the carb. So it's full. Then she was telling you how to do it, and then I'm thinking, it's going to snap her in two with this bike. And it was a CR like that she was on. Anyway, and she got this boot on and she stood on a brick at the other side. She gave it 2 kicks and bang, off it went.
Off it went. Did you ride it as well?
Oh yeah, she rode it, wheeled it off. She was mint. But I've seen other blokes, you know, on YouTube and that, where they kick it off and you see them operating around carriage.
That would be me. That would be me. Aye, that would be me.
Back out of me. So yeah, so I bought this one, which was a 250, 81. Now originally he told me these bikes were brand new. They were new all stock bikes.
Right. Is that what it was sold them as?
He was sold them as brand new all stock bikes.
Right.
I think they've been
Restored.
very, very, very light use bikes.
Right.
Then been restored. There was just certain giveaways, like a bit of stone rash on underside at swing arm and you know, things like that I thought, well, that wouldn't be there if they were brand new. But anyway, I bought that one. That's an RM, is that RM 250. I bought the 465 off him, which that give it away as well. You see, the stickers do that when they've had petrol sat in them.
Do they really?
Yeah, so I must
Does the fumes come through the tank or something?
Yeah.
Is that what does it?
If you see on a lot of bikes with white tanks, you see the tank goes yellow.
Right.
It's the fuel. that
Coming through the plastic?
Yeah, coming through the plastic. So I want to get a new set of genuine Suzuki stickers for that. You can still get them. Because that's mint again as
It's
well.
immaculate. They're all clean bikes, mine. There's none of them.
No, I don't buy. That's probably the roughest one I own.
This one.
Yeah, it wants a bit of work, does that? I'll do a bit of work on that. I'll get
Tinker with it.
new wheels for it.
Something to tinker with.
Yeah, I don't really like buying them because I don't like buying them that won't work because you can buy them restored for not much more than you can buy one that wants restoring. And then by the time you've spent all, like same with cars, they always say, can't they, you can't make money restoring cars. It's a fact, you can't. I always look at it, I'll buy one that somebody else has blown all the money on. I'll benefit the fact that they've spent, but having said that, a lot of people enjoy doing it, don't they? They like restoring things.
That's the thing, isn't it?
They sell it and then buy another one to restore. They know they don't make money, but they're not bothered.
Something to tinker with.
Yeah. So I bought these two, and then I bought that beast off him.
Is this a 500?
That's the CR 500.
Quite a legendary bike, isn't it?
Yeah, I sort of found that since I bought it. You know, when I put it on Facebook, I put a picture of all three and everyone's like, oh, CR 500, they were an absolute animal, they were a beast and leg breaker. That's all everybody said.
Leg breakers.
Have you tried starting it? No.
Have you never tried starting it since you got it?
No, because it was empty of fuel, you see.
Right.
So I'm just going to give them a deep clean, a polish, and then put them upstairs, clean all tyres and that on them. And I started that one.
These are quite valuable, aren't they? The Honda CR 500s.
A mint one of these, anywhere from sort of 7 to 10 for a mint one. I would value that at probably 7 to 8 grand. These, they're very difficult to value because it's like anything, it's all on its condition and whether it's been used. And so, but I don't worry about it. I pay what I think I'm happy to pay. I don't
What's
really
the market like on the crosses compared, like, obviously at the minute the Cosworths are quite
the market's dropping on them.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, when I started collecting them up there, the market was, like everything was during COVID and end of COVID,
Boom.
Everything was booming and any nice crosser was big money. Real mint examples like them were crazy money. And I've seen them now advertised on eBay and they're getting cheaper.
Coming down a bit.
And cheaper, yeah. Which is probably the best example of this. This is the last one I bought recently. I bought that. That was on eBay.
So this is a 250 as well, two-stroke.
Yeah, that's a 250. Now that's a Sorry, I forgot year. I think that's an 86, 87.
Right.
Guessing, but somewhere around there, I'm sure. This is, so I'm led to believe, an 89, but it's got a lot of more modern updates on it. Like it's got the upside down forks on it.
I noticed that, mind, the forks,
Yeah.
like normally the shaft, what goes in and out here, is at the top, isn't it, on a crosser?
That's right, yeah, on the early models. So again, I'm no expert. I don't really know what I'm looking at with it. I just saw it on eBay.
Looked nice.
Thought it looked absolutely mint. I love the aluminium tank on it.
Does look nice, mind. You were saying you're going to get this polished, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, yeah, because apparently, so again, I've sort of read a little bit that all the works bikes had aluminium tanks on them, or most of the works bikes. So somebody's bought this aluminium tank to make it look
Like a works
like
bike.
a works bike. And I was just browsing YouTube as you do, you know, looking research, and I saw a CR, a red CR with an aluminium tank on it, a works bike, and he'd had it mirror polished, and it just looked mint. So I'm off to get that mirror polished. But yeah, that was on eBay, and the funny story with that was it was local. It was only at Ripon, which is only an hour and a bit from me. So
Did you pick it up?
Yeah, I went to pick this up. Yeah, I messaged him and said, you know, will you sell it now? Anyway, he never replied. So I left it another couple of days, messaged him again, would you end auction? No reply. I thought, right, I'll bid then. So anyway, I started bidding. You know when you know you're being run up?
Really?
And you can tell, it's easy to tell when you're being run up. As soon as I put a bid on, within like a minute of me putting a bid on,
It went up again.
it went up again, and there was 2 bidders every time taking it in turns to bid me up, and I thought, I'm being run up here. So I stopped at 4 grand. I would have paid more. I stopped at 4, I thought, I'm being run up. Anyway, the next bidder was one of these two, 4,200 quid. Anyway, I thought, well, I don't like dishonesty, and that to me is dishonest. If you want a price for it, put a reserve on it, but they won't. To save 10 quid, they mess people about. So I left it. Anyway, I thought, I bet you any money I'm going to get a second chance offer on that bike. Anyway, 2 days later, it's relisted. Buy it now, 4,200. So I knew that anyway, or best offer. So I sent an offer, 4,000 quid. I got it.
Accepted.
Yeah, I accepted. So anyway, he sent me his number. I spoke to him. Lovely, he's a nice guy, real nice lad. So I drove up to Ripon, looked at it, he fired it up, it started, engine's been rebuilt. And I was chuffed to bits with it, you know. I thought, wow, that's a mint bike for 4 grand, that. And anyway, I paid him for it, did a bank transfer, wheeled it into the back of my van. And I said to him, I couldn't help it, you know, he's maybe a bit nasty at me, really. But I said to him, you know, if you'd have, I missed a bit of the story. About 30 seconds after auction had finished, he sends me a message. Yeah, I'll end auction early now for 5 grand. And I thought, you think I'm thick? You can see time in which you've sent that, and I can see time when the auction ended. Anyway, so when I put it in back at the van, I said, thanks very much, shook his hand. I said, by the way, if you would have messaged me when I first messaged you, I would have given you 5 grand for it.
Aye.
And I would. And I thought, do you know what?
So you lost £1,000 for just messing you about?
And I did that I didn't do it to be I did it to sort of say to them, I said, don't mess people about.
Just to prove a point.
Yeah, I said, you've lost £1,000 because you messed me about. I said, I played the game that you wanted to play, but I beat you. And again, I didn't do it to be nasty. I just thought, I said, next time, mate, if you want 5 grand, just either reply to the message and say you want 5 grand or put a 5 grand reserve on it. I said, and don't get people to run it up. I said, it was blatantly obvious that you ran me up. Oh no, he said, it wasn't me, it was my brother. Well, whoever.
See, it's a shame people do it though, isn't it? But it is.
But I benefited out of it, and I love that. I think that's, because the weird thing is, you know, I've never liked Kawasaki green.
You were saying that because you've got a collection of road bikes, what we've done a video on. And I've just noticed there's a Kawasaki over there in the corner.
250, yeah. And yet, now I've had them, I think that looks brilliant with the blue.
It's a nice car. I like it, me. Do you know what it reminds us of? If it was metallic, the Mark II Focus RS.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Nice bikes.
That is, I would have said my second favourite bike is that. Definitely.
This one?
Yeah, definitely. Out of the motocrossers, that's my second favourite bike.
So what's this one, Paul, you stood holding on to?
This was one of my dad's bikes. My dad passed away 10 years ago now. Actually, he had a motorbike accident. Somebody pulled out in front of him. and this was the one, because they re-released these, they remade the Triumphs. This is an 04, and he bought this as what?
Year 2004.
Yeah, 2004. So they made them look like the old bikes.
I was going to say, it looks old, doesn't it?
Yeah, they've got all the, like the old style badges on the tanks like Triumph had. And I ride that bike.
Yeah.
I do, yeah. I enjoy it because it's not fast. I don't know what it'll do flat out. What's it got on clock? 140. I think the only way it'd get 140 over is off a cliff. But I think it'll probably do, I don't know, 100, maybe 110, I don't know. But I just cruise about on it.
Pop about on it.
Yeah, go through all little villages, be nosy over people's fences and that, like you do. But I just cruise about on that. But I must admit, I haven't ridden it for probably 4 years. Obviously, COVID and one thing and another. So
it's a nice bike, man. It looks cool. Like you say, it looks old. It's been done.
yeah, it's clever how they've done it. But I've covered it in WD-40, so it looks
all the chrome and that?
everything's covered in WD because they were in a shipping container before this
right.
was built. So they've got to be cleaned. But I'm going to get that recommissioned, carbs clean, get it MOT'd, and then, just on a nice summer's night, go for a little ride on my own on it.
Go for a little potter.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Nice. So this one's pretty cool looking, Paul. I'm guessing this is like a genuine old bike. It's not like a 2004 like this one.
Yeah, this is an old cronk. I don't even know how you work out years on these old things, but this is a proper classic old British bike. And this one has a lot of meaning to me. This is actually the bike my dad was killed on. Sadly, somebody pulled out in front of him, and because he'd been riding since he was a kid, he knew he wasn't going to stop. So he dropped the bike and he slid into the car that pulled out in front of him and damaged all his ribs and one thing and another, and sadly passed away a week later in hospital. But all he ever went on about, when he was in hospital, was, how was my bike?
It's a biker thing, isn't it? They all seem to do it.
Petrol heads, innit? Same would we'd be with, how's my car?
How's my car?
And he'd be like, for F's sake, don't. And that's all I kept saying to him, Dad, for F's sake, I'll fix your bike. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. Well, how bad is it? And I'm thinking, he's laid there in agony and all he's bothered about. So, anyway, I say he passed away sadly. So, maybe 6 months after before I could, touch it really. And I took it to bits. And all it had done really is bent this rear mudguard and scuffed it. You can see marks on the seat there that are still there. Bent that exhaust. Bent the front. It was cosmetic damage, really.
A little
that's right, yeah, scuff on the headlight. So I repaired all mud guards, knocked them all out because I'm a panel beater, repaired the mud guards, straightened everything up, straightened the handlebars and everything, and I repainted them and got it back on the road, but I've never ridden it.
Will you ride it, or is it just going to...
No, I had it actually on display at my old house in Conservatory. My nephew made a wooden plinth to stand it on, which I've still got. So I'm off to, this has been in container, I'm off to get the tank re-chromed, because it was pitted when my dad had it. It'll polish up all right, but I want to get the tank re-chromed and repainted, polish all side casings, exhaust and everything, get it back to looking how it was, because to be quite honest, he'd turn in his grave if he saw it how it looked now, do you know what I mean? So I'll get it all polished up, and then that's off up there on that plinth that Ross made for it.
Was it immaculate like when your dad had it? Did
No,
he
it
look
wasn't.
after it?
Yeah, he was quite fussy, but he rode him,
Right.
so it was a lot better than it was now. But
Was it his daily bike, or was it just like a hobby thing for
yeah, a
him?
hobby thing.
Hobby
He
thing.
used to be a member of a bike club, a local bike. So every Wednesday they'd go out for a ride in summer, and that's when it happened. Actually, they were out on one of those summer night rides, and like I say, I had the accident. So, but I don't want to ride it. I'll just keep it.
Obviously keep it forever.
Yeah, well, and then obviously when that happens to me, my sister's son, because we don't have any kids, Ross, he'll get that, all my dad's bikes, he'll have them, because I won't sell them, like.
Shall we go up your mezzanine and see what we've got?
Go on then, I'll let you go first.
So more bikes, Paul, how many have we got here? 6?
Yeah.
All 2 strokes?
Yeah, all oak. Yeah, 2. This was the very, very first one I bought.
The very first one when did you
Yeah.
buy this?
Probably, I would say maybe 6-7 years ago. It was on eBay, and I just thought, wow, that's nice. I'll buy that and have a bit of fun, go in fields or whatever.
So you've used this one?
No.
No.
That was the idea, but I never did. And apparently that's an American import. So I've been told again that the yellow ones are American.
Right.
We had the white ones.
Right.
So again, I've been told he's an American import. That's a 250. I've had it running and I've had it up and down road wheeling it because I have a thing for wheeling bikes for some strange reason.
I'd fall off the back, mate, if I tried to wheelie.
Oh, I fall off regularly, but I still like doing it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what crosses are for, isn't it?
No,
So,
nice
yeah.
made.
So I like that. That's a nice. I want to get a new seat for it because it's worn off a bit as the Yamaha. But you can buy every single part for these.
I was going to say
all
that
new
it's all-
plastics.
Even like, are you going to do the tyres? Because it looks like some of the knobbly bits have snapped off, or you're not really,
I don't ride it, so it don't matter.
not
does it?
really that bothered.
But I might get wheels done on it. If I get the wheels done, then I'll put brand new tyres on before it goes back.
So we've got here KTM 250,
yeah.
two-stroke again.
This is
Big fins on there, mine, for the cooling.
because it's air cooled. Because you know most of the crosses are either
Water-cooled.
all the early stuff was air cooled, wasn't it? All the 80s, very early, late 70s, early 80s were air cooled, so they have the massive fins on the head. So that I believe is about a 79 or an 80, something like that. Could be a very, very early 80s, but it's an early one. Quite rare.
Cosworth GTX sticker there as well.
I think it's a nice looking old
It
bike.
is.
That.
It is. You see the shocks are not like nowhere modern. It's just, just a big eye.
And,
Just
the,
old
and
and
it's
look
what
big
they
up
call
the
a
cast.
twin shock, so it's still got two shockers, one at each
Oh,
side,
right.
which they do a lot of historic motocross events with what they call twin shocks. So all the early bikes, some people even put the old swing arm and pair of shockers on a more modern bike, so they can race in the
Really?
twin shock series, yeah. Because it was a big thing, wasn't it, when crosses, when they come out with monoshock and all that.
One
with
big shock in the
one big
back.
shocker, and it was like a ooh.
So you would see in there about the petrol downstairs. It's done it on
that's
that tank
done the
there as well.
same,
But
yeah.
is there fuel in these, or are they all drained?
All drained. I drain them out. I run the bikes to empty the carb, and then obviously empty the fuel out of the tank first. Run them so that the carb's empty before I leave them stood. Otherwise, it all it goes like jelly, doesn't it? And you have to
Old fuel.
mess about.
So here, what we've got here, it's a Honda.
Yeah, CR125. That's an 86, I believe, if I remember correctly. Now I bought that from on eBay again. A guy, like we said earlier, a bit of a hobbyist. I think he was a plumber.
Right.
And he likes restoring them. So he bought this bike, stripped it completely to a bare frame, nut and bolt restored it.
So here's a clean looking
I
bike,
tell
this
you
mind.
what, the attention to detail on this bike is like, look at the hubs. They're absolutely perfect.
I mint.
The mint had a bit of dust on them, but they're
a bit of dust.
absolutely mint. Just every, like all the, where the chain runs on the swing arm there, they have that plastic guard on. He managed to buy them all brand new from Honda.
God, yeah, mint
Everything
mind,
you
isn't it?
could buy brand new from Honda, he bought brand new. The only thing he did on this was he had the tank painted.
Right.
Because obviously the trouble with these crosses is, as we said, the tanks go all faded because the plastic. And you can buy all these brand new, all the normal plastics, but the tanks are really expensive. But now apparently these people that professionally polish them, they flat them and polish them up with a machine
Oh,
polish,
right.
and they come up like brand new.
Kind of what you would do to old paintwork.
Exactly, and they do it with the plastic tanks, but he painted that, so I can never put fuel in that.
Will the paint fall off?
It'll lift the paint off if you put, as it seeps through, it'll lift the paint off. So I'm off to buy a brand new
Plastic
for
tank.
that and put a brand new plastic tank on it. But that is absolutely probably better than brand new.
They're all mint though. There's none of them tatty.
No, I don't buy tatty things.
No.
And I bought that one, another RM. Anyone would think I was an RM fan, wouldn't they? Because I bought 4 of them. But that, I believe, is an early 90s bike. Upside down forks on it again.
The bit there. Tell you what, I like that exhaust. It looks very handmade and worn, and
The only trouble is with them, they go rusty.
I can see there where it's been pitted. But
they go rusty a bit, but that's clean. I bought that off a
looks
guy
nice.
from Wales, a nice clean bike. He'd restored it, not to ultimate perfection, but he'd restored it. And
very nice. It's like presentable, clean, nice bike.
yeah, it looks all right there, doesn't it?
Looks mint. Looks mint.
Yeah, and that again I wasn't particularly looking for it. I just saw it on eBay. It wasn't a lot of money. I think I paid about 1,800 quid for that.
Did you?
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of money. It was quite cheap. And it was one of them where I bid and I couldn't believe I'd won it. And I thought, oh, it won't have met reserve or something. Anyway, a bloke messaged me and said, I was hoping for quite a bit more than that. He said, but at the end of the day,
You've won it.
you've won it.
Come pick it up.
And I sent somebody, I just had them, I get them just delivered. You know, these bike couriers move them for 100 quid.
To there?
Well, you can't drive to Wales and back, can you? You know, a day off. And
Aye, for 100 quid.
if the local, I'll go and get them.
Aha. Sometimes it's nice to meet the owners as well, isn't it? And just
Yeah,
find
it
out
is.
a bit of story about the bike.
Yeah, that guy had quite a few. He used to ride them semi-professional, I think he was. He had about 10. And he was downsizing his collection, like, and that was one of the last ones he'd got. But a lot of people, you see, didn't like it because it had been, I believe, I don't know if I am 100%, but I think it should have a blue frame. I think
Right,
a lot
instead
of
of
the
black?
later RMs had a blue frame, and because it was painted black, it put off the purist.
Right.
But I say again, I buy what I like. I don't really
I think
care.
it looks nice, black mind.
Well,
I don't know.
like it, yeah.
Might look a bit strange blue, but
But
it does look nice.
It's like a signature thing for RM though.
What, the blue frame?
Yeah, yellow bikes and blue frame.
So the Yamaha 250 here.
Another YZ250, but again, like same as that bike, but that's a newer version. That's slightly newer, and again in what we know as the Yamaha red and white colours. So that's a UK bike. Again, I wouldn't say it's not been restored anywhere near the detail of the CR, but it's been restored. It's nice and clean. You know, it's presentable. It wants a good polish, to be fair. You can see it bottom of the tank there. Can you see it's gone yellow?
Oh, there. Where the fuel's been
Where
sitting.
fuel's been sat.
Aye, you can.
And that's a new tank. It's a reproduction tank, is that? And
How
it's-
much is a tank on eBay? Like a 20, 30 quid or something?
Yeah, for an old scruffy one.
Is it?
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
much like a new reproduction one like that?
400 quid.
Really?
Yeah, they're quite expensive. That's why most people, and I can't stand it, I'm instantly put off by motocrossers I see on eBay. And I'm contradicting myself because this has got it. You see how they put these big stickers on?
To hide the damage of the
Yeah,
tank.
to hide the fact that the tank's gone dull or scratched or scuffed. And I always ask if they've got them on, what's the tank like underneath? Because normally you get these bikes and you see all brand new bright plastics. And then when you get them here, you see tanks yellow underneath with white sticker. They look terrible. So I'm really put off by the white, them big stickers. But that's a new reproduction tank.
Oh, I know, it's nice.
They've all got new seat covers on because you can buy them, they're only like 60 quid.
Really?
And they make a big difference, don't
They
they?
do? Well, it's a big part of the bike, the seat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially on a crosser. So what's this one, Paul?
That's my favourite bike of them all. And the reason that is when I was 17, I had a Mako 125.
This is a 490, so nearly a 5.
Now these things will,
Aye.
these are,
This must have some naughty power.
these are lethal. Proper lethal, these. But that's
Have you
what I
rode
like
this
them.
one?
No. I've only ever ridden a 250 Mako. And Jesus, well, you have all on trying to keep front wheel now. You, honestly, you know, you try your hardest to keep front, and as soon as you took something,
It's up
to
on the
God
back wheel.
knows what. God, I did have that running. I fired it up when I bought it. It got delivered. Excuse me. I went and put my motorbike boot on to start it, but it's got a decompressor on it.
This lever?
Yeah.
Just to take some of the pressure out the cylinder?
Exactly. So you can, but even then, you know, you have to find top dead centre, ease and pass top dead centre, and then give them one whacking
One kick
great
and get your leg out the way.
and hope for best. And even with decompressor on, it took some kicking. I dare try it without. I thought, if this kicks back, I don't want to be off work for 6 weeks with a broken ankle. But it fired up fairly straight away.
So what's this worth then, Paul?
I would have said, like I said, the market's softening a bit. I would have said earlier this year or late last year, that was probably a £6,000 bike. I think today, four and a half. The hour and a half dropped quite a bit, to be fair. There's another one on eBay at the moment now I like, and it's
A Mako.
yeah, a Mako. It's a 490, same as this, but it's only ever done about 2 hours work from brand new. It's absolutely mint. £9,500.
He tempted.
Yeah, but what's holding me back is I think why the market's softening is nobody wants to spend any money, and I'm looking at it thinking, £9,500. But it's proved me right because I did speak to a bloke that's got it. He's a dealer, but it's his own bike. And he even admitted to me, he said, I expected this bike to sell within an hour of me listing it.
It hasn't.
Because it's quite a special bike. Because when you buy Makos now, They like custom build them for you. So you speak to Mako and I want that end thing, I want that, and you basically they build the bike for you, if you know what I mean. And that's got all the best trick bits on it. So he says, you know, if you want to go racing, this is the bike to have. And I said, well, I don't go racing. I'm too fat and old to get a motocross bike. You know, I'm too old to die. I'm too young to die, but too old to ride. And I just keep looking at it and looking at it on eBay all the time, and it looks absolutely mint. But you just think, I think it's gonna, the market's gonna dictate.
Crash.
Not crash, but
Just come
things
down a bit.
They are coming down.
Calm down a bit. I remember you buying this one at the Birmingham NEC. Was it the restoration show or something, or the classic car show? Where you bought this? You bought two together, didn't you? You bought this one.
Yeah,
and this
I
one.
think it was the restoration show, wasn't it?
And I love this thing. Is it a 70cc or something? Is that right?
Yeah, I can't even. Do you know what? This is so much notice I take. Is it 76cc or something like that?
Wasn't it? It's a proper race bike, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a proper race bike. I mean, I couldn't ride it. It looked like
tiny,
an
isn't
elephant
it?
on a matchbox, wasn't it? But it's a cool little thing. It's got all trick billet machine bits on it and to make
I
it
love
light.
this, mate. I love it.
And then when I got paperwork for it, when I got it home, it came with a massive amount of paperwork. And it actually won a championship, did that bike.
Really? I think it's an absolute mint looking little thing.
Again, I buy just things that I like. I don't
I love
necessarily.
this.
But I just liked it, and it wasn't a lot of money. I think it was about $2.5 grand or something like that, with fees and everything. So I actually.
Because you bought this one at the same time. I like your little helmet there, man.
Oh, the old, what they call a piss pot.
It looks like the Crazy Frog. Can you remember the Crazy Frog? It looks like his helmet.
Well, that was what I went to buy, if you remember. I wanted that bike, and that was the next bike in after, or was it the bike before or something? And I thought, well, that's cheap, so I bought that. And I bought that as well, and I just liked that. I just thought it was quite a cool...
It's tiny as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a 50cc, is that?
This one's 50cc.
Yeah.
Never ran it?
No, I haven't run it, no.
With skinny tyres on the back.
I think I'd manage to be able to kick that over, though, don't you?
I think so. I think you do by hand.
With your thumb. It's nice, though, isn't it?
It is cool.
I like things with racing. You see, same with my cars. Run-of-the-mill stuff bores me. I like things with a racing background. And like, obviously, Crossers are race bikes. All these are race bikes.
So what's this, Paul?
That's called a Matchless G50. Now, that was obviously a full-blown race bike. You could never buy them on the road. You could road register one if you wanted, but they were an out-and-out full-blown race bike made by Matchless. That's a 500cc. And that bike was built for one purpose and one purpose only.
To go racing?
To beat that bike.
Really? To beat the Norton?
Manx Nortons won everything TT-wise. You couldn't win a race unless you had a Manx Norton in the early days. And Matchless built this bike. And they did a G45 first, which was a 650cc. And then somebody developed this bike, and this was a better bike. So Matchless built a lot of these for racing, and they were a good bike.
How did it do against the Norton?
Norton still won
Still
the majority of things, yeah.
Still won.
It's a bit like the RS500, isn't it, that I'm known for. You know, if you wanted to win a race, you had to have an RS500. There was other stuff that was quick and relatively good, but that is the RS500 of the bike world at the time.
It's a daddy.
But I just love, what I want for the collection next is AGS and Matchless was basically the same company.
Right.
And they did a 350, because obviously they did a Manx Norton in a 500, this is a 500, or they did a 350 for obviously different classes. And they're exactly the same bike. The only difference was the piston and the barrel. And it was smaller for a 350.
Right.
And Matchless did what they call an AJS 7R, which again is absolutely identical to that bike. You cannot tell the difference. The only difference is the AJS 7R is a black tank with gold pin striping, and it's got AGS where that says Matchless, and it's a 350. So I'd like one of those. They called them the Boy Racer.
And are these big money compared, like the Nortons are obviously massive money.
These are dropping again,
Are they?
but these are dropping for a different reason.
That leather on there.
When I started collecting these, because obviously I've got that one in the house, they were rising, they were becoming collectible, really, really big money. Now they're dropping. And the reason they're dropping, it's like, you know, brass cars, they call them, all brass headlights and that. You look at them and you think, they're 70, 80, 100 year old. 10 grand. You know, and you think, why are they so cheap? The reason is because all the people that collect them and wanted them or remember them, they're all dying off. And that's where we are at with these at the moment. If you think,
Even the Nortons.
yeah, because they were all raced in the late 50s, early 60s. Well, you think, we forget how times have moved on. That's quick calculation. 1960, how many years ago is that? 60 odd years ago, 63 years ago all but. So when you think, to ride a bike, you had to be really in your teens. So if you were a teen 63 years ago, you're now 80 plus.
Yeah, in the 80s. Well, in the 80s, aye.
So everybody now is in the late 80s, has now got these old bikes, and they've had them since they were young, and they've never wanted to part with them because they love them, and now getting rid of them because the kids don't want them. The grandkids
died
don't
and the
want
kids
them.
are selling them.
Exactly that, or the kids get left them in inheritance, and they think, well, I don't want that cronky one. They don't see the beauty in it like I do. They just see an old bike. So the market.
Better for you than Paul, you can buy them all up.
Well, I bought that bike there for probably half of what it was worth 2 years ago.
Really?
They've dropped that much, which is good for people like me who collect them. You see, really, I'm too young for these. A lot of older guys who know I've got the, how come you've got a Manx and a G50, you know, because I'm only 50. I said, well, it's because of my dad.
I was going to say, was it your dad that got you into them?
Yeah, I remember, you know, posters of these, and I remember my dad messing about with them years ago, because don't forget, at one point, they were like Iris 500s. You could probably buy one of these for 2,000 or 3,000 quid.
Well,
30 years ago, because you couldn't race them because there was no classic race series, so they were an ornament only, and nobody wanted them because they weren't classed as collectible. Now they've become collectible, but now the collectors are all dying off, so it's people like me now that love them, and we're getting the benefit because we're buying them cheaper. But the downside for us is, you know, what I pay for this today, I consider it cheap, but in another 10 years, it's probably going to be worth less. And that's the
strange,
difficult,
isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm quite tight being Yorkshire. I like to buy things that go up in value.
Well, don't we all?
And I mean, they'll go up. Obviously, we're at that moment in time at the moment where things are dipping because of the economy. But when things level off, these will go back up. These will actually drop because there isn't many people my age. I mean, you wouldn't have a clue what they are, would you?
No, I don't. And to be honest, that's not something I would put in space like this if I had it. I would want like a RGV 250 or...
The 80s stuff and early 90s is now booming. What I say now is the 80s is the new 60s. If you go back 20 years, because there is a 20-year difference, anything 60s, 70s was highly collectible, highly valuable. 60s and 70s stuff now is tailing off, and 80s stuff is becoming big because people my age that are classed as people with a bit more disposable income, because our mortgages are very little now, our kids have all buggered off and left home. So we've got a bit more money. We want what we want when we were 18, which is 80s stuff.
No, I'm it, mate.
And then my last bike is that one there, look. You won't remember the Speedway at...
no, I've never been to Speedway.
At the fair.
No.
There was a fairground ride called the Speedway. And that's an old fairground ride, Speedway bike.
Do you know what I would do with this, mate? Put it in my log burner.
Oh, thanks.
It's just a lump of wood, isn't it? Just...
Yeah, but it's... If you're my age, again, you see...
Did you sit on that as a kid?
Oh, when we went to fair, there was motorbikes on outside. I think there was 2 rows of motorbikes, and then they went on to like farm animals and that. And you'd see all lads rushing to get on motorbike, pushing girls out at way to get on motorbikes. Oh yeah, you wouldn't sit on a farm animal, a chicken or something, you had to be on a motorbike.
Did you buy this then?
Yeah. eBay? No, it was on Facebook Marketplace.
Bit of box section and that.
And I'd been after one for years. I kept looking at them. They were like stupid money.
Really?
They you won't believe how much
Like
they
a couple
sell.
£100?
No.
Really?
They sold for a lot more than that.
That sold for...
A lot more than
Really?
that. And normally, the average price I used to see them for was around 700-800 quid. And I kept looking at them, because I'm tight. I always wait, because you always get
Wait
a
for
bargain
bargain.
if you wait. And that came up on Marketplace. It was in Scarborough, 250 quid. I couldn't get there fast enough.
I bet.
The hard van was wheel spinning all the way to Scarborough. But again, it's just my childhood.
So is this like a proper old thing? It's not like someone's made it and painted
No,
it?
no, no. It's been repainted, but
Uh-huh.
you can tell, you see, because if you look, it leans one way.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, it leans because when you're going round
Round the
corners,
track.
Obviously, if you sat upright on a thing going round, you'd end up falling off, don't you? So it's deliberately made to lean like that. There's plenty of people who'll see this video go, I remember at Speedway when I was
Really?
a kid. They will, honest.
Ah,
Yeah, it's
cool,
just
mate.
a cool bit of thing, that.
That's it, fellas. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more of what Paul gets up to on a daily basis, he's just started a YouTube channel where I'll be working on the RS500 road and race cars. We'll leave a link below, mate, to...
Can do, mate, yeah. It's just mainly at the moment, all I've uploaded is cars for sale. But this year I'm thinking of putting a couple of...
You should definitely do
and
it.
just-
Definitely do it.
Plenty of people have asked, so trying to get more famous than him. Possible.
I'll leave a link to Paul's Facebook page as well, where it's mainly RS500
It is mainly, yeah.
road and race car stuff. But yeah, again, fellas, thanks for watching. I will leave a link to my Instagram as well in the description of this video. But yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Spot on, mate. Aye, aye.
She's here.